Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Tales of Love, the place where hearts are unwrapped, secrets are exposed, and desire meets betrayal. Tonight, I invite you to lean in a little closer because the story you're about to hear is laced with passion, heartbreak, and a temptation that should have never been touched. It's called the Anniversary Affair, a night that was meant for celebration, but instead became a tale of betrayal and forbidden love. So settle in, because this is a story you won't soon forget. Candles flickered softly in the dim light, their glow dancing across the dining table. Elena smoothed the last fold of the ivory tablecloth and adjusted the crystal glasses, her heart swelling with excitement. Tonight was their anniversary, 5 years of marriage, and she wanted everything to be perfect. The aroma of roasted lamb filled the air, her favorite wine was chilling, and delicate red roses, his favorite, were scattered across the table. She slipped into a silk dress that hugged her curves just right, adding the final touch of crimson lipstick before checking herself in the mirror. "This is the night," she whispered to her reflection. "The night he'll remember." Her phone buzzed with a text from her husband, Daniel. "Running late from the office. Don't wait for me." Elena frowned but brushed it off. He was always busy, always buried in work. Tonight, she thought, he would arrive, see the effort she'd poured into their evening, and remember why they fell in love. Minutes stretched into hours. The candles burned low, their wax dripping silently onto the silver holders. Elena sat at the table, her wine glass untouched, her heart sinking with each passing tick of the clock. She tried calling him once, twice, then again, only to be met with silence or a quick, distracted reply. A whisper of doubt began to form in her mind. Was it really just work keeping him? Or was it something else? Her phone finally vibrated again. This time, she saw a message meant for someone else. Words she was never supposed to see.
"Can't wait to see you tonight."
"Don't worry, she'll never know." Her breath caught in her throat. The room spun around her, the carefully prepared dinner suddenly meaningless. Heart pounding, Elena grabbed her keys and slipped into the night. She drove with trembling hands, following the location he had accidentally shared earlier that week. It wasn't the office. It was a quiet little restaurant across town. Through the wide glass window, she saw him. Daniel, her husband, leaning close to another woman, his hand on hers, his smile tender and familiar, the smile that used to belong only to Elena. She pressed her hand to her lips to keep from crying out. The sight cut deeper than any blade could. Her anniversary night had just become the night her marriage shattered. Elena didn't remember the drive home. By the time she walked back into her candlelit dining room, the lamb was cold, the wine still unopened. She sank into a chair, her body trembling, the silk of her dress suddenly feeling like a costume for a play she no longer belonged in. Her mind screamed with anger, with grief, with betrayal. She wanted to scream, to smash the glasses, to call him and demand answers. But instead, she sat in silence, her tears glistening in the candlelight. "Why wasn't I enough?" she whispered into the empty room.
The doorbell rang.
She startled, wiping her eyes quickly, expecting maybe Daniel had returned, ready with excuses. But it wasn't him. It was Mark, Daniel's best friend. He held a small gift bag in his hand, his smile fading when he saw her tear-streaked face. "Elena? What happened?" he asked, stepping inside. She shook her head, unable to form words. Mark set the gift aside and gently guided her to the couch. "You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but I'm here." Something in his eyes, concern, warmth, and unspoken longing, broke her resolve. She told him everything, her words spilling out with her sobs. He listened, his jaw tightening, his hand never leaving hers. When she finished, silence filled the room. His thumb brushed across her knuckles, lingering, comforting. And in that silence, a different kind of tension sparked. Elena met his gaze, her breath catching at the intensity she saw there. Mark had always been kind, always present, but tonight there was something more in his eyes. Her heart raced. She knew she shouldn't. He was Daniel's best friend. But the warmth of his touch and the closeness of his body made her ache with a longing she hadn't felt in years. Mark leaned closer, his voice low. "You deserve someone who sees you, Elena. Someone who would never let you feel this way." Her lips parted, trembling, torn between reason and temptation. Then his hand brushed against her cheek, and all the walls she had built collapsed. Their lips met, soft at first, tentative, as though testing the boundaries of sin. But once the barrier broke, the kiss deepened, hungry, desperate. Years of suppressed emotions surged between them as clothes fell away, replaced by heat and whispered names. The candles that once waited for Daniel now lit the fire of something forbidden. Elena lost herself in Mark's embrace, in the way he touched her like she was the only woman in the world. Every kiss, every sigh, every stolen moment burned with passion and betrayal. The night unfolded in shadows and tangled sheets, the sound of their hearts pounding louder than the guilt they both tried to ignore. Morning crept through the curtains, painting the room in shades of gold. Elena lay awake, staring at the ceiling, Mark's arm draped around her. The weight of what had happened pressed down on her chest. For one night, she had felt wanted,
Desired. Alive.
but it came at a cost. She knew when Daniel returned, the lies would grow heavier. And though she had been betrayed, she had betrayed in return. Mark stirred beside her, pressing a kiss to her shoulder. "I don't regret it," he whispered. Elena closed her eyes, tears welling. "But it changes everything." The dinner table still stood in the next room, roses wilting, candles burned down to stubs. A silent reminder that their love story had ended, and a new, dangerous one had begun. And as Elena rose from the bed, she knew the truth. Anniversaries mark beginnings, but this one would forever mark the night love and betrayal collided. And that, my loves, was the anniversary affair. A night meant for celebration, turned into one of secrets, betrayal, and forbidden passion. Thank you for listening to Tales of Love. Until next time, guard your heart because love is never as simple as it seems.